political rhetorics. We're going to talk on political branding. How can a politician, how can a candidate brand themselves as a leader, as a wakil rakyat? But before that, Mr. Ghazalie, I'm going to ask you in general, just a light answer of what is branding, what is PR, public relation, and why is it so important?
So, public relations is the art and social science of analyzing trends, predicting their consequences, and determining what are the outcomes, and advising and counseling organization leaders on a plan program of action. Now, political branding is the management process by which an organization or an individual, for political purposes, commercial endeavors, or charity pursuits, in branding, you go through purposeful communication and action. You seek to influence and to establish, build, and maintain beneficial relationships and reputations with your key publics to help support your mission and achieve your goals. So, what exactly is the right branding for politicians? Well, it essentially boils down to the brand promise. What exactly would politicians promise its constituents? For political parties, the brand promise would be reflected in its goals and objectives of the party for the rakyat. Now, this is essentially the manifesto. While for the individual politician, this would be his or her more focused and targeted goal and objectives. Take, for instance, if you are a young political candidate, your goals and objectives would be more inclined to be what best serves the young. It could be political reforms, it could be education, it could be youth and sports, it could be housing, and the list goes on. Now, in this current pandemic, the goals and objectives would be health and safety. Vaccines and medication would be a priority. Health facilities, economic recovery, and sustainability. And the list goes on. If it's the environment and climate change, then champion the ideals of what's being preached at summits like COP26, saying no to anything that damages our environment. A brand promise, Harris, is,
Mhm.
is essentially a value or experience constituents can expect to receive every single time they interact with your party and yourself as a politician. The more a party or politician can deliver on that brand promise, the stronger the brand value in the minds of your constituents, as well as your own employees in your team, your political machinery, in the members of your party, because they are important as well, because they will champion you as the right candidate.
All right, moving on. In
Yes.
this in this day and age where it's the technological era, so we're pretty advanced with all the technologies, all social medias, as well as unfortunately we are being challenged by the pandemic right now.
Mhm.
So, what are the right branding for politician in this current time?
If you're speaking about the right elements in branding a politician, you must ensure, first of all, your constituents see you in the right light. This is where perception marketing is key and important to ensure the vote is for you and your brand. Branding is the process of repeating a word or phrase or logo until it gets stuck in the mind of the public. Political branding comes from what people can identify. When the branding comes from the party, it can be anything from useful public information, such as building roads, bridges, community halls, and how trade and commerce can thrive, as in the case of the Pan-Borneo Highway, which connects different parts of Sarawak and mobilizes the riot in a safer and more modern manner. Now, politicians can ride on this. The Pan-Borneo Highway provides a high economic multiplier for Sarawak and even Sabah by opening up more areas with access and encouraging greater mobility, as well as boost economic sectors such as construction and tourism. And when completed, the highway would open up economic corridors and opportunities in areas that it traverses, and in which and in which most indigenous companies and individuals can thrive. The highway would also afford integration in international commerce and trade as it traverses into neighboring Brunei and Kalimantan. So it's important that would-be politicians, actually champion a cause or an issue or ride on something that will appeal to the riot and therefore get voted in.
All right, since we're still on this topic on how a politician should brand themselves, do you think it is important for politicians, doesn't matter if they're young or age, do you think it's important for them to shift with the current trend and not stick to the old ways where, for example, they should focus more on branding, on campaigning themselves on social media like Instagram, TikTok? Do you think this is a crucial step for them to take?
Well, Harish, the answer is a yes and a no here, okay? Yes, because that's the way we are going when you have audiences who are now becoming more tech savvy and with the times on digital transformation and so forth. They get the news from their handphones, their laptops, their computers, as well as tablets. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok would be important to reach out to these voters. But you must remember that there are some voters in Sarawak that you may not be able to reach. They may not have internet facilities, for example. So your voters will need to listen to you via radio, watch you on television, and read the newspapers. Depending who they are, where they are, and what is easily available to them for information, you cannot dismiss the traditional platforms. But if you are looking at a constituency that's more in the urban area, then by all means go with the modern ways, going more tech savvy, using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and so forth.
How do you think branding can help political candidates win the hearts of people, especially in the area that they are fighting for?
Well, branding promotes recognition. So you need to be recognized in the first place, okay? Your brand helps you set you apart from the political competition. Okay, everyone will be going out the forefront to ride on the political campaigns before them. So your brand must tell people about your political DNA. Your brand provides motivation and direction also for your staff because it tells them how to act, how to win, and how to meet your political goals. A strong brand generates votes. A strong brand helps your audience know what to expect. And your brand represents you and your promise to your voter. Your brand helps create clarity and stay focused. And your brand helps you connect with your voters emotionally. Now, people choose not because they fancy the logo. They choose because they are emotionally drawn to you. So if you are a good hero and a good champion, you are credible, well, the voters will identify and relate with you emotionally and therefore put the vote out for you. A strong brand provides you your political value.
Hai, terima kasih kerana menonton Sarawak Insights. Jangan lupa untuk tekan butang subscribe di bawah ini dan juga klik video di sebelah sini untuk mendapatkan perkembangan terkini berhubung pilihan raya negeri ke-12 di Sarawak.